So today we are going to see about creating filters in Tableau. So I'm connecting to the sample superstore data source. So what is a filter? So mainly we use filters to restrict our result set. So that if you use a filter, so your result set would be restricted based upon the user selection. So in Tableau also we can create three types of filters, that is context filters. So then we would be creating like interactive filters and top filters or conditional filters. So first let's see the basic filter types, how to create. So first let me create a visualization. Let me take subcategory, sum of profit. So I have taken two dimension with a measure. So now in order to create a filter, so filters you can create based on dimensions or measures. Okay, so we call it as three types of basic filters, that is filter dimensions, filter measures and filter dates. That is, when you are applying a filter based upon a dimension, we call that as a filter dimensions. When you are applying a filter based on a measure, we call it as filter measures. When you are applying a filter based upon a date field, then it is called as filter dates. So in order to create a filter, you have to drag your dimension or a measure into your filter shelf. So this is called as the filter shelf. So now I want to create a filter based on subcategory. So I just need to drag the subcategory dimension into this filter shelf. So automatically a window would get open. So here you would be able to see all the data items we have under subcategory. So from here either you can select all or you can select none and you can select only the particular types. Else you can also click exclude if you want to exclude some of the values, like if you want to exclude so I'm just clicking on some values, so those values would get excluded. So you have select, you can like select from the list, else you can use it as custom value list or you can use it as use all. So in case of custom value list, that you have to just, if you have like more number of values, then you can just search. If I give A and give enter, so I get all the values that starts with A or which has A in it. So from here also I would be able to select. I'm just going to use select from the list and give OK. And now if I want, so now if I want to create as a interactive filter, then you could see a small down arrow here, right? Just click here and give it as show filter, so that your filter would appear on the right side of your workbook. So from here you can actually select your corresponding values. If you don't want to use this interactive filter, then you can, from here itself you can edit your filter, select your corresponding values. So this is the first type of basic filter. We also call it as the data source filter, which is going to be applied directly upon the data types. Next, let me show you how to apply a filter based upon a measure. So filter measures is like we are going to create a filter based upon the measure value. So now I'm going to create a filter based upon my measure value. So I'm going to put this sum of profit into this filter shelf. Next you have to select the type of the aggregation, like what type of aggregation you have to select. Maybe if you want a sum or average, then you have to give next. So here you can actually specify like range of values, like you can specify your starting and ending value. Maybe if I don't want to include the negative profits, then I can give like the range should starts from 0. So either you can specify your range of values or else at least that it's what value it should start from. So here you have to specify 0 in case if you don't need to include your negative values. So you could see here we don't have any negative values now. Also put this into the color. So we also have like at least and at most, also we have like special values in case if you don't want null values, non-null values, then you can actually apply it here. And only if you don't want to ignore your null values or if you want to include your null values. So next we are going to see like how to apply a filter based upon a date. So let me take order date. Sum of sales. So in order to create a filter based upon a date, so once you drag and drop a date field into this filter section, so you would be getting all these types of filters you want to apply. Either you want to apply based upon relative dates or range of dates or only on the year or quarter or month. For example, if I want to specify only on the year, else if I want to specify based on range of dates, I have to give next. So I have here I like from the start date to end date. Here we can specify the start date to end dates. Like what is the starting date, what is the ending date, or else this particular you can specify as today, tomorrow, like that, like last 3 days or last 10 days, last quarter, like last 12 months, last 4 weeks. So you would be able to specify these kind of date filters in this first, that is your range of filters. Else if you want to apply only based upon the year, then you have to choose year, so that only you would be getting your years. So from here also you would be able to specify your year filter. Else if you want to specify only based upon the month, so you can specify which corresponding months you want to select. So when you are giving the show filter here, so here also you have some options like in case if you want to have it as the single value filter, else if you want to, in case if you want as a single value filter, you have three types of option for displaying it. Either you can display as a list, or else as a drop down, or else as a slider. In case if you want to have a multiple value filter, then you can have list, drop down and your custom list. To remove your filter, just you can drag and drop it like this. So these are the three types of basic filters what we have discussed. That is creating a filter based upon a dimension, creating a filter based upon a measure and a date. Next we are going to see something called context filters. So what is the difference between your basic filter and your context filter is, so the other filters are basically independent of each other. Uh, how to say, it means like the each of the filter we have been creating the basic filters, so it reads all the rows from the source data and creates its own result. I was telling like in case when I'm using two filters, okay, so in I'm using two filters, I want to create my second filter depend on my first filter result. That is like I want my second filter to process the records, only the records which is being filtered using the first filter. So here my second filter is dependent upon my first filter. But when you are using your basic filters, even though if I use my second filter, it's like independent in nature. So they are not dependents. So now I'm going to create my context filter. So this is the difference between your, so this would be the main question also in case everyone would be asking like what is the difference between your normal filters and your context filters. So the main difference is normal filters are independent with each other and your context filters are dependent with each other. So why actually we are going for context filters is, the first thing is to improve our performance. So in case when I am dealing with a large data source and if I'm creating more number of filters, so there may be a scenario like my performance would get affected because of the more number of queries getting created, it may be slow. So in order to avoid that, we are just going for this type of context filters. So another one is context filters. It includes only the result set which is been written by the first filter. So let's create a context filter. So here, once I drag and drop my subcategory into the filter shelf, I'm not, so we have four tabs here, that is general, wildcard, condition and top. Now I'm going to use the top, the last tab top. I would tell you what is wildcard and condition as well. But now for creating a context filter, I'm going to use the last tab called top. So here I'm going to use by field option, and here I'm going to use top 10 based on sum of sales. I want to actually create a filter based upon the subcategory with the condition like top 10 sum based on top 10 values based on sum of sales. So now we have created the top 10 subcategories based on sum of sales value. Now what I am going to do, I am going to drag another dimension into the filter shelf. So I'm going to select only the one category value here. So now if you see, only the second filter is being applied only based upon the first filter result set, not based upon the whole result set. So this is the main purpose of using the context filter. If in the same scenario, if I use it with the normal filters, so now actually these two filters are independent of nature. Even though like if I remove this filter, so we have some values which we have actually filtered based upon subcategory. Sorry, here actually I left something, that is we have to uh, click on this option and we have to give like add to context. So now you can actually compare the result between the two things, that is between your context filter and your normal filters. What is what it actually the result shows here is, so it shows the subcategory of the products which is under the category furniture, and also which is like among the top 10 sum of sales value. So this is where we are actually using this term context filter. That's why I have actually added like add to context. So if I give remove to context, you could see the difference.